I'm Brandon DeCastro, owner of GCS Glass and Mirror here in Phoenix, Arizona. In 6 years, I've grown this company to 2 locations and approximately $3 million annually. So,
heck yeah. I mean, I don't think that's even worth like a little sigh. That's pretty impressive. I would think that that's pretty cool. I'm Chance Foreman. Everyone on here knows me. I'm all over the internet. I show my face all the time. I run Ames Mirror and Glass. This is my uncle's company. I took it over 2 years ago, and in 2 years we've scaled. We doubled our size of trucks. We've tripled our employees, and we've opened up 2 locations here in the Austin area. And now I'm looking to somewhat get into business with Brandon up in Denver, Colorado, which is why we're putting all of this together. So I think that we can really bring some value to you guys. And today we're going to talk about when to hire.
we're going to be doing this once a week, every Tuesday, on different subjects on scaling and growing your company, trying to get the glass community together, networking, and growing everybody's company. So, all right, so this is what we have on the agenda today. Starting out with just you in a truck, costs associated with employees, team size corresponding with gross revenue, residential versus commercial team needs. So starting out, as an owner operator, usually it's just going to be you, unless you're buying into a company or you're stepping into a company that's already there. But it's usually going to be just you and maybe somebody else in a truck working 24/7, essentially trying to grow your business. So going into that, starting out with one guy, which is yourself. You might have a helper or a friend or someone in the family that's going to help you part-time that you can pay under the table to kind of get things going. It's not going to be easy to jump out there and do it by yourself. Some showers you need help on, some mirrors you need help on. So you're working around the clock, taking care of customers, building relationships, perfecting your craft. The pros to that: less overhead and you have no one really to manage. But the cons are, when you're not installing, you're not making any money. One person can only do so much, so you cap out.
And I guess we all know how that is. Even the most people on here all have employees. But when you were by yourself in the beginning and you got sick, it was really hard to make money. Say something really bad happened, a medical emergency, family, anything like that could really put you in a bind. If you were out for a week, you're not being able to put food on the table. So at some point it's time to hire. Even if you don't want a lot of overhead, it's just good to duplicate yourself so that you can have the opportunity to make money even when you're unavailable to do the work.
Hiring your first employee, can you afford it? Project your yearly gross revenue, calculate your expenses, ensure your remaining balance will allow for the added expense. According to the Second Wind Consultants, if you are in the service industry, your payroll costs could encompass more than 50% of your gross revenue. Calculate your cost for the employee, cost of employees, research current market pay rates in your area. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit to get into that. So cost of employees, you're going to have your employee wages, payroll taxes, workers' compensation insurance. The requirements are going to vary by state and country. Benefits, optional, onboarding cost, training time, and equipment. So there's a lot that goes into hiring an employee. So especially your first employee, if you've never hired an employee, the first one's going to be huge, trying to calculate everything that goes into that.
Well, just even the extra expense from you were paying someone under the table this whole time, but now you're having to pay those payroll costs, the payroll taxes, workers' compensation, and all that stuff. And then benefits, something a lot of people don't think about, but if you were able to offer full medical benefits, I know, with someone like my daughter who's got some medical issues, it would be really nice to have 100% paid benefits. I know that would really attract me to a business, and I'm sure plenty of others. But then you could also pay 50% and your employee pays 50%. So there's a lot of extra thought and costs that go into hiring one person, or some of you guys might have huge companies. Joe, I don't know how large your company is, but even when you get up to the 10, 15, 20 employees, every time you go to hire, you have to go through the budget, make sure you can afford it, right?
So you've decided to hire a helper in the first steps. Simplify, document, and duplicate. And I'm going to let Chance kind of break that all down.
So this is like my concept to all business. You want to simplify what you do and how you do it, right? Even when I first got here at Ames, we were trying to chase the money. We had been in the apartment industry, so I threw a whole bunch of shit at the wall just to see what would stick, right? And we had some issues, and now we've simplified things down. Brandon's been able to scale his business so quickly because he knew what he wanted to go after, and that was mainly showers. He simplified it, and now he does some of the best, coolest showers. If y'all don't follow him, you should. Simplifying, like Brandon, you're able to scale faster. You get really good at what you're doing, and you're able to train better. And training, that goes to the documentation. So you document all processes, how you do it in written, and with today's time in video form as well, so that you're able to scale faster and scale simpler. You could take a green hand and be able to turn them into a good hand really fast because everything is documented. And then duplication, what we mean is to duplicate yourself and the roles that you had to do when it was just you or in the very beginning, and duplicate your managerial roles to a manager, your installation processes to your lead guys, your quality control, your bookkeeping, like we were talking about with Dustin earlier. But make sure you get someone you can trust. That's hard as well.
So you got a truck with a helper. So it's you as a lead and a helper in a truck. You should be able to do around, $250,000 a year with that to $500,000 a year with a truck, one truck and one helper. So revenue should consistently increase with the extra set of hands. The things you want to focus on is training your helper to uphold your standards, turning your helper into a lead, and creating your company culture. And creating your company culture is going to be huge because whatever you preach, you want them to preach it as well. So as you grow, they're doing exactly what you want them to do. They see the vision behind your company and they help grow your company, and it helps grow them as a person and an employee. Growing to the next phase at 500,000 plus, you're gonna be able to go to start getting into a second truck. So you're gonna want to hire either a lead guy or another helper, depending on how your helper progresses. Then you're going to want to either promote him to a lead guy or hire a lead guy and use him as a helper to train him more. And then you're going to be able to kind of step into the office and do more of the office work instead of doing it at 8 o'clock at night all night long, or ordering showers and all that. You'll be able to do that during the day while they're out installing. So the things you want to focus on when you're doing that is quality controlling jobs not completed by you, ensuring the team is maximizing time, building your company culture. So you're obviously not going to be installing every job, so you're going to have to go in and check on those jobs and make sure the QC is being done. Quality is huge in our industry, and if you got guys out there just slapping in showers that silicone looks like junk or they're leaking all the time, you're going to have to nip that and fix that because it does happen when you grow. So growing the two trucks, you're going to probably be around $800,000 a year with two trucks and yourself and another person in the office. So you should have two leads, two helpers, two trucks, yourself, and then someone in the office, someone that's, either a sales guy in the office or splitting roles where he's doing partial sales or some office admin, or you're doing the sales and he's doing office admin stuff. But that way you have someone else helping you run the office, because with two trucks running out there, it's going to be hard for one guy to do it, even two at sometimes.
It's such a cool spot though, because this is like that point where you're able to hit that 7-figure mark you've probably been yearning for since you got into business, right? Which takes you into like a very minute, I don't know Australia numbers, but here there's 30 million companies in the United States, and less than 30,000, which is like 3%, actually less than 3% ever make it to 7 figures. And you're talking lawyers, doctors, tons of people that get into business. So if you're a glass company, any of you guys, and you've made it to $1 million, you're like in this elite group. So you should go ahead and like give yourself a little pat on the back. It's a pretty big accomplishment, I would say.
So the rule of thumb that I believe in is each truck should be making about $400,000 a year with a lead guy, a helper, and then someone in the office. So a 3-person team should be making around $400,000 a year. The things you want to focus on is having your leads start doing quality control on the jobs, keeping things simple enough to easily train, emphasizing your company culture. Just preach it, just to they'll start following along if they believe in it, and your company will grow. All right, so you've reached that 7-figure mark. You're growing your business, 2 leads, 2 helpers, 1 utility player, 1 sales/office person.
And utility player, what do you mean by that?
So a utility player, I call it a utility player. So let's say what I did was I had 2 trucks out there. I brought another truck on, and then I had a lead guy step back and go into measures. So he measured for me full time. So I'd have a full-time measure guy. So he was also a lead guy. So he was able to pick up the slack. If we needed a small shower installed, he was able to install it by himself. If we needed a mirror fabricated, we would have him come back to the shop and he'd fabricate a mirror. So trying to keep overhead down, utilizing the role as a utility player. And that's what we did. So we had 3 trucks at the time and doing over $1 million a year with 3 trucks and 2 guys in the office. So again, the rule of thumb, a truck should be making about $400,000 a year with someone in the office. And that puts you around, 3 trucks around 1.2-ish.
So Joe asked, is your guy measuring a sales with commission?
He is not. He's just strictly a measure guy and an hourly employee.
For me, we took one of our lead installers and I turned him into sales with commission. We're still testing the waters with that. He gets really upset because we have conditions and terms wrote into our sales. So if we have to go back for any type of mistakes, he doesn't get his full commission, just as if us for a company, we don't get the full profit margin for that. We treat the sales guy the same. So it's kind of like running his own business. I don't know, something cool to think about. And then we also made another guy a finisher who was my best installer. And he's here to help guys finish jobs if they have any kind of problems, need to oversee things in the field. And he gets based on bonuses based on monthly earnings from the company. So just a cool concept to think about.
Yeah, that works too.
But I'd much rather not pay commission like you are, because then, it doesn't cost me anything. But it's cool because it drives them, it gets them a little more motivated.
No, it does for sure. And you sell more jobs usually that way as well.
Heck yeah.
So I don't know what's up with the squiggly lines, but residential versus commercial, everyone knows, there's a big difference in it. Commercial teams have different needs than residentials. Residential teams, you're going to have less trucks, but more back-end employees. You're going to have an estimator, project manager, working foreman. Those are, more expensive employees on the back end for commercial projects.
But you get to save on not having to have as many trucks with 1-2 employees in them. You can have your guys job siting. You can have glass job sited. But an estimator, I know an estimator here in Texas gets paid anywhere from $75,000 to $85,000, even up to $90,000 a year. But if you're going to have an estimator, rule of thumb in our area, if that's their full-time job, they should be estimating about $20 million a year. And winning about $4 to $7 million of the 20 million they estimated. So they're almost like a inside sales kind of guy because they're that point of contact in the beginning, getting all the questions answered. A project manager here in Texas makes about $75,000.
So that's it. Next week we're going to do another one, same time. It's going to be on a different topic, obviously. If you guys have a topic you want to talk about, let us know. You can email either Chance or myself, or you can DM us however you want to get it, or you can email Rob as well. But any kind of topic, we'll take any kind of suggestions and we'll kind of go from there. I think Dan
the Man has a question. You want to answer it first? Can you go to Q&A at the bottom? You see that? And then you go to answered. So Dustin, y'all were talking about, Rob, could we open it up to just, since there's less of us, could we open it where everyone could just talk, like an open forum of communication?
And I'm on Instagram Live too, so we might have some questions on here as well. And then if you're on Instagram Live, we can answer those questions as well.